Hi guys, it's Aegis here, and today I'm going to show you a Great Nature tech profile. So for Great Nature, we have two builds. One is the Isabelle build, one is the Big Belly build. Both of them is fun to play, and I think people tends to actually play the Big Belly more than Isabelle, um, for whatever reason it is. But today, what I'm going to showcase you first is the Isabelle build. So Isabelle with the new upgrade is fun, but uh, when her skill is first out, we all thought of something, but then it didn't came true, and I will tell you like in a bit. So her first skill is like the old Isabelle, that when your opponent is grade 3, when you're going to use your what I would call a lottery skill, which you put the top deck to your drop zone, and depending if it's a normal unit, if it's a trigger unit, you get different effects. Yeah, so that's what I will call lottery skill from now on, whenever those kind of skill appears, so you can know that in advance. So you get to do that, and that's also one Q&A that you should know if you are quite new to Great Nature, because those lottery skill is going to check if the card that you drop is a normal unit or a trigger unit. But all the cards are not normal unit or trigger unit. So if you don't have the first Isabelle skill active, then when you actually drop a order card, you get no effects. That's something that you need to be very careful. But I also can tell you that I'm not using any order cards in this deck, so you don't need to worry about that part. But just in case, if you are interested to use order cards in Great Nature in Isabelle build, that's something that you need to be aware of. And her second skill is on place for Vanguard and Riga Circle, is that you look at the top 3 cards of a deck and put them back on top in any order you like. So by doing so, you now know what cards that is at least the top 3 is on top of a deck, and if you see 2 triggers, you put 1 normal unit on top and use a lottery skill to use that off, and when you 3 drive, you get both triggers. If 3 of them are like normal units, then you can use 3 lottery skill, clean them up, then you do your drive check. So it changes the way that we play Isabelle quite a lot, because in the past we just keep rewriting Isabelle, keep trying to do a lottery gameplay, and we have no guarantee what the top deck is, and we just need to rely on Isabelle's skill to get both effects off. But whenever you drop your triggers from your deck to your drop zone, it still hurts, because that means you are not going to trigger check those triggers. So now you get to look at the top 3, you can arrange them, and there's less chance that you're going to waste your triggers unless you really need that skill, because Isabelle first skill won't be active if your opponent is grade 2 or lower. So there are chances that you need to rely on the trigger side of the effects if you can't use both. But if most of the chance, like if you see a trigger, you're likely going to do a drive check and also get them back to your hand. And then her third skill is a counter blast 1 Vanguard skill active. By doing so, you pick one of your units on play skill and auto on play skill and activate it. And if your opponent is grade 3 or higher during the turn, your primary units will get 10k par. So that's a few things to note. 1. The 10k sharing is only active when you use the skill. It's not a permanent, so you have to have the units in the front row to get the 10k when you use that effects, and once that effects is like used, even if you play something new to your front row, those units will not get 10k. So you need to line up your units and share their 10k first before you move them around. Second, the skill that you are, what I would say, reactivating, the on-play skill is on the unit that you choose, and the effects will also belongs to that unit. So it's not Isabelle using that skill as her own skill, but she is making other units to be able to reuse their skill again. So there's also a few things that you really need to be careful. For example, the old Isabelle get 15k skill. If you reactivate it, it's still on the old Isabelle, so she will get 30k. You can't activate Vanguard when appear skill because that unit is on a Riga circle and you are reactivating those skills, so they need to be a Riga skill. Yeah, so as long as you are quite clear on these things, and also when you activate those skills, you still need to pay the cost. That's something that people are complaining about this new Isabelle. It's like you are already asking me to counterblast one, and now you requires me to maybe counterblast one more, soul blast one more. But it is what it is. We just need to be very careful with our resources management, and we can do it. Okay, so we spent quite a lot of time because there's quite a lot of things that you need to be careful with the new Isabelle. And of course I'm running the old Isabelle because the old Isabelle is very important as your attacker, as a reguard. Your main one will still be the new Isabelle because she can get to share the 10k and reactivate skill. And the old Isabelle can only use her on-play skill once, and it's not something that you can keep reusing. If you want to reuse, you just need to keep rewriting her. So with the new Isabelle, you don't actually need to rewrite, but of course you can. And you have it, I do suggest you to do so because you will use a lot of soul. Even this old Isabelle is going to use it, so yeah. So old Isabelle on plays, so plus one lottery, normal unit get 15k, trigger unit get back to your hand. Just basically that. And also sharing the first skill to make both lottery side active when our opponent is grade 3 or higher. So that's probably about it. And then I'm still running 2 of the Leopold, just a backup plan. It's also a once off, but you have a chance to fill up your field again or hit for high numbers with crit if you want to push a lot of damages. So nothing much to say about Leopold. Usually you would just call it as a regard to attack if you have the new Isabelle, but if you need a backup plan, it's there. Okay, and starting from grade 2s, I am running 3 of the Lab Daughter. It's a new card, it's a very interesting card, and I like it. So it's a on-play skill on both Vanguard and Regular Circle, but counterblasting one, you do your lottery. If you hit a normal unit, you call it to Regular Circle. If you hit a trigger unit, this unit will get 15k. So if you hit a trigger, this card will get the power more than you usually pull a trigger. Of course, you don't get the crit, you can get heal, you can get draw, anything. But making itself a 24k attacker, even on Vanguard, is sometimes crazy. Because you can basically attack anything you want and try to hit, and it's most likely going to hit because 24k, even if your opponent is a grade 2, they need to drop you a 20k shield for one pass. Yeah, so they're not going to do that. They're usually going to just let you go. So you can kill off Regas if you see them really annoying. Hit Vanguard for a high chance to hit, and you also get to have a chance to fill up your units because You call the units, you can call this, you can call this. This can help you look at the top 3 cards and rearrange. So even though you can't get the 15k power, you can still try to look for a trigger there and put the trigger effects on your Vanguard. Or use her to suddenly pick up a card, pick up a trigger, or get 15k. So anything can happen, which is why I like this card. And then I'm running 2 of the Baku Zebra. Since I'm going to drop a lot of cards, I'm actually using quite a lot of resources here, Card Blast, Soul Blast wise, so I need something that can simply work for free. So Baku Zebra is there. And also, talking about free effects, I'm using 3 of the Geograph Giants. As long as I put it on a extra circle, it will become a 70k by itself. XL2 22k, XL1 27k, plus 10k if I use Isabelle's skill when my opponent is on grade 3, so can hit most of the stuff. And again, it's free. As long as you just place it on an extra circle, it's easy. You're playing XL clan, so as long as you put it on an XL circle, it will just get part. And even if you run out of resources, you can still just call it on an extra circle, and your opponent still need to give you like 15k shield at least to guard. And then I'm running 3 of the Binoculars Tiger, which is something that you don't want to call early game, because that's the thing that I always have is when I attack with it, I want it to hit normal unit, but then I want the trigger unit side effects. So I don't actually just want to counter blast 1 when I attack to draw 1. I want to pop a unit and give my feral units 5k, 3 of them. So I need to actually wait for Isabelle's effects to go up so I can actually guarantee myself to do that. So I won't call this unit early, I will save it for later. But it's still very key because you get to retire some stuff, you get to draw, you get a share power, and sometimes that 5k little difference can ruin your opponent's plan and change the game. So still important in this deck. And then entering great ones. First I'm running 2 of this new card, Clerical Kakapo. Again, it's free. When appear, you do your lottery. If it's a normal unit, you draw 1 and discard 1. If it's a trigger unit, you draw 1 and put 1 back to your bottom. So you get the chance to put your triggers back to your deck, even though you might not be able to shuffle it, but you still get to do that. Better than nothing, right? And if you get Isabelle's first skill off, you can actually get both effects off, so you can draw 1, discard 1, draw 1, put 1 back to the bottom of the deck, so you get to filter your cards, which to me is quite helpful and is a very good early ride, so you can keep filtering your pieces and try to find your new Isabelle. And again, it's free. Then I am running 4 of the Besom Ringtail. At first I actually didn't run 4, I ran 2, but I do find myself actually need 4 because it's like Binoculars Tiger, it can retire some stuff, but with a cost of a counter blast. So I do want to increase my chances on field removal, because there are always units that I don't like and I want them gone. So increasing chances is still helpful to me. And even if I hit a normal unit, I can draw 1, so it's not that bad. And then I'm running 2 of the scale token, another 13k booster or attacker. As long as I drop something, I do have a lot of cards that do that. And is also a plan that if I don't get to write my new Isabelle and I want to reuse the unplay skill, I can solo last one and bounce the unit and call it back to use that skill again. So have a chance to do so. I think it's still important. I tried to use the old promo that helped me pick out some cards, but I don't find myself using that a lot, so I've changed to this instead, and I think I prefer this way. And whenever I get my hands on the new promo that I can counter charge and soul charge, then I will definitely use those, but before that, this build is not going to include any of those. And I'm running 4 of the Monoculus Tiger. As long as it boosts a rearguard or attack as a rearguard, you do a lottery. If it's a normal unit, you stop your opponent's calling Sentinel from hand. If you hit a trigger, your opponents can only guard with triggers in hand. So it's kind of a finisher for your game. It could partner with the old Isabelle. With new Isabelle in place, pump her to 52k plus 860, suddenly block sentinels. So your opponents can't use 30k shield, can't use perfect guards, and you might just win there because the attack is so high. And if you have like 2 of them there, and if you have enough soul to use and make those 2 nearly unblockable attacks or hard to guard attacks, that may win your games. So still 4 off, and it's not something that you would like to actually call early game unless you hit it with your Toto, unless that, if not, you daughter, okay. Yeah, so unless you actually pull them off, or with Leopold, you probably just keep it in hand so you can save it when you need it. Yeah, so entering triggers, I'm running 5 crits, 3 fronts, 4 draws, and 4 heals. I see a lot of builds actually using 8 crit, but I do want to try use fronts, so I put 3 fronts in. And just my personal experience, whenever I use my new Isabelle skill, for me, okay, I have a 50% chance to hit a front triggers, and that really changed things up, because a lot of people won't expect a Isabelle player to use front triggers. So whenever they see a front triggers, the plan got ruined. They need to rethink their strategy, which is what I enjoy when using front triggers, because I can protect myself, I can be offensive with it, and now with new Isabelle, I get a chance to see if I'm going to check them, then like, why not? So far, I like this trigger lineup, and if you want to gamble a little bit more, you can have more crits there, or if you want to have more fun, you can put more fronts there. That's up to you. But to me, since my front row is actually getting quite a lot of power, but I still want to pump it more, so that when my opponents get a defensive trigger, I can still going to push them through, hit as much as I can, or force them to guard with as much as possible. That's why I'm using front triggers. Yeah, so that's basically the list, and let's see how we can do different right options or some stuff that you can use or do with this deck. Okay, so let's see what we can actually do. So your first write, I would suggest you to write this if you can. If not, just write whatever, because by doing so, you draw 1 card and you draw yourself 1 extra card and filter 1. So you actually get to draw 2 cards from here. So it's important for you to pick up your new Isabelle as easier as possible, with more chances as possible. So that's ideally your first ride. And when you enter in grade 2s, I would suggest you to ride this. Laptop Daughter can add you a unit, which sometimes can be the new or old Isabelle. Then you can use this skill to palm and swing back, to look at top 3 and plan your attacks through. And if you hit a trigger, it's a 24k attacker, then your opponent is less likely going to guard this. Then if you are not going to do much, you can even just write this in as a regular skill, but it's less of the ways. Make sure you keep that for extra circle, make sure you keep this for a later game when you can get both effects off. And entering grade 3s, of course, best of the best, write this, look at top 3, see how many normal units you need to drop, then you can call your old Isabelle to drop something. If it is another trigger, another normal unit, then of course you will have something like this. And assuming you are going first, then you can just simply use this skill, drop another one, Snow Blast another one, and get another power. And whenever you hit the triggers, you just swing with Vanguard and go from there. Or if you really need to use another normal unit to go away, you can use your Binoculars Tiger to share the power because you look at the top 3. Or if you actually do quite a few things, say you look at top 3, you use once, you use twice, and you still need to use one more, then you can do something like this. Call another unit, probably a grade 1 or anything, and then you can use this skill. Or if you know 3 cards is normal unit, 1, and then use your little guy. Where is this? Let me see. This, that you can actually draw 1 and draw yourself another card. So just using these ones can help you clean your first top 3 cards of the deck. So that's quite easy. And you can actually use the Counter Blast one to try to copy yourself the Isabelle skill to look at top 3 again. Then you know what top 3 is, arranged it. If only one normal unit, then you can just swing with this and swing this for triggers. So plan your attacks, make sure you use up your normal units, or if 3 of them are all like trigger units, then you know you don't need to do a lot of things. Then you probably don't need to call this, or you just even call a Leopold and just swing. So depending what the top 3 cards of the deck is, you get to change your game plans depending on what you have in your hand, of course. But you can see when I line my stuff up, I don't even put anything at the back, because this I will just save them whenever I'm going to end game. Before that, I would probably just keep them if I'm facing a retiring heavy clan or something that always move my board, or even like Numatama, they're always going to clean some key stuff on my board. So yeah, do need to be careful, and you should be able to win. So that's basically it. And lastly, just a little note with this deck. I built it with a little purpose against Nubatama. It's not completely against Nubatama, but I try to maximize the chances that I lose less advantage with the cards I have in my deck. For example, my Great Vids. This, they can't copy any part of the skill. Vanguard skill, on play skill they can copy Vanguard skill. Or Isabelle. Vanguard skill, on play skill they can copy. Leopold. Vanguard skill and on play skill, also a Vanguard skill of course, you can copy. This, you don't have extra circle for the Vatama because you're protect clan. You can copy. This, you kind of can copy, but then you don't have any ways to send your deck cards to drop, so it's kind of useless. This is an unplay skill. You can copy. This is an unplay skill. You can copy. And let's see. This is a unplay skill. You can copy. You're not going to drop cards from the deck to drop, so even if you copy, it's useless. Now, this is when attack a boost, so they can copy. This is when attack, so they can copy. This is when attack or boost, so they can copy as well. So for the whole deck, your only weak points are these. So make sure when you face Novatama, you keep them in your hand as long as possible, or just only use them when you think you can finish games. Then you should be fine, if you ask me. Because most of the cards they can't copy the skill, so the max that they can do is to copy whatever to get twin drive or single drive, which probably not going to hurt you as much as if they can use the skill like this. This 7 is still fine, not going to hurt you too much, but these are going to hurt you a little bit because this share power and port your stuff. This port your stuff and gain power when attacking, so it's a little bit dangerous. But by doing so, they need to use extra counter blast and soul, which they also need to use a lot, and they are going to cut the deck. So, because they need to drop the top card of the deck to drop air to drop zone in order to do the lottery effect. So, kind of burn the deck a little bit. So not as bad, since most of the cards are like useless to them. So yeah, I think with this deck you can pick up a good fight with them if you play carefully. Then other clans you just play your normal games. Yeah. So that's it. I think that's all I need to say. I will also be doing a Big Belly deck profile, and I might do a Blau deck profile. Have to say I don't have any Nova Grapple cards at all, so even if I build it, I'm going to like cherry pick some cards and using most likely only new cards with a little bit of old cards to build the deck, so I don't need to pay too much for a new clan. Because I just find Blau's like a old friend, so I do want to build it, and it looks okay. The effects are quite strong, so I try to build it cheap, and if I get some conclusion with my build, I will share with you guys. Yeah. But before that, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.